These people immediately go, oh, the shooter is trans. We got to do something about trans people. And what's crazy about it is that the last 3 shootings of this sort were actually conducted by non-white men.
That's where we begin, a Minneapolis story, but an American problem. Fear and sadness, parents and children, an entire community there grappling with the tragedy at a church. 2 children shot and killed during morning mass at a Catholic school. The first week of school, they were just back from the summer break. 17 other people hurt in this incident. 14 of those people, children themselves. Police say the shooter died at the back of the church by suicide right there at the scene. No official motive has been announced. CBS Evening News co-anchor Maurice Dubois is on the ground for us, leading our coverage outside Annunciation Church in Minneapolis. Maurice, here we go again. Good morning.
We are going again here, Tony. No one can get their heads around this thing. It was just the 3rd day of school for students at Annunciation Catholic here in Minneapolis. They teach kids from preschool through 8th grade. They were gathered for Mass when those shots rang out, shattering what should have been moments of peace, prayer, reflection, anticipation, replaced instead by violence and death. As this community mourns, the FBI is investigating the attack as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime targeting Catholics. CBS News has confirmed the shooter, 23-year-old Robin Westman, was once a student at the school whose mother previously worked there. We'll have more details on the investigation in just a few minutes, but first, Usher Qureshi here now with more on how this happened. Usher, good morning to you.
Good morning, Maurice. Well, the Minneapolis police chief says all 17 injured shooting victims are expected to survive, and leaders here are sending a unified message. Action is needed to ensure this never happens again. We should warn you that the following video is hard to watch.
Where's the shooter? Where's the shooter? No one knows. Oh my gosh.
Terrifying video provided to CBS News by a parent shows panicked children running out of the chapel at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis, moments after a shooter opened fire during morning mass Wednesday.
This tragedy is so commonplace that it's basically like reminding people that school is back in session at this point when a school shooting takes place. That's how common it is in the United States of America. Having said that, we already know what the problems are here. We already know how to fucking stop it. Other countries don't have these sorts of issues. I wonder why. Now, of course, the reaction to yet another school shooting taking place in the United States of America has also become serialized. People are now immediately running to attack whatever group or identity they fucking despise as the singular sole responsible party here. They're claiming that the shooter was trans. Now, I don't know. I've seen information that they might have been. I've seen information that they were a detransitioner. But one thing that is 100% certain is that the shooter was a fucking Nazi. Okay? And it's interesting because while the overwhelming majority of school shooters and mass shooters alike are actually white men, okay, on the younger side, the overwhelming majority, like it's like 98% or something. It's fucking nuts, right? There's been like 3 trans shooters in the last decade, as opposed to like 98% is all white men. These people immediately go, oh, the shooter is trans. We got to do something about trans people. And what's crazy about it is that the last 3 shootings of this sort were actually conducted by non-white men. There was a femcel neo-Nazi, a white woman. There was a black Hebrew Israelite / white supremacist neo-Nazi, a black man. And last but not least, this person who I think is a detransitioner or is trans, it doesn't matter, but still a neo-Nazi. Now, what's interesting about this is that they are all coming from the same group. They're all coming from the same Telegram circles that they're in. This is the Order of 9 Angles and its other decentralized subsidiary groups, and it's very clear from the same pattern that is developed in all of these other shootings that have taken place and all these other like universal incidents of terrorism that have taken place, that they are getting fucking radicalized at these insanely niche, hyper-specific, esoteric, neo-Nazi, satanic groups that they have on Telegram channels. They just actively seek out more and more insane shit. And ultimately, their goals are 9 angles, not 9 angels. People say it's 9 angels, but it's 9 angles, I'm pretty sure. Now, there's no firm connection to O9A so far, Order of 9 Angles, but the suspicion is there because of the patterns that exist in this shooting, as opposed to all the other shootings as well. Okay, I covered this group when we were talking about the Roblox suspected terrorism incident. It's actually shocking how insane their worldview is. Like these guys are one step above the the Groyper movement. They're like even more insane than the Groyper movement. They start their radicalization trajectory in the same ways that many others do, where they like watch, you know, SJWs get owned compilations or whatever, or maybe they have like a fucking bad breakup and they're like looking for you know, some fuck women content or whatever the fuck. And then they slowly but surely go through the process of radicalization online through the algorithms and get to like the Groyper movement. And then some of them beyond the neo-Nazi Groyper movement seek out even more insane, more esoteric versions of expressions of neo-Nazi sentiment. And they find themselves in these groups that are directly created to have these sorts of acts of terror. And they celebrate these sorts of acts of terror, and they actually try to actively get people in these Telegram groups to get radicalized enough to commit acts of terror themselves. It's like a grooming cult, basically, but it's primarily online. It's Terragram O9A and 764 and other assorted accelerationist communities. This stuff used to be on 4chan and 8chan, but now it's gone even deeper into stranger forms. I would describe them as a nihilistic, esoteric, fascist accelerationist, which is disturbing because it's the same ideology informing J.D. Vance via Nick Land and co. Yes, but of course, J.D. Vance is too fucking rich and too invested in like becoming president to ever entertain this kind of shit. It's just the underpinnings of this fascist ideology, this fascist accelerationist ideology is the same, but obviously J.D. Vance is not going to be doing a fucking school shooting anytime soon. It's the Curtis Yarvin. Like they have similarities. Like JD Vance and the Silicon Valley Tech CEO affiliates have like similarities with that same kind of like esoteric accelerationism, esoteric fascist accelerationist ideas, but it's definitely definitely not super common, I would say. While it's not super common, because like how many people do you know that like directly worship school shooters and fucking white supremacist terrorists like this person did, right? There's not that many of them, because that's like, you have to be fucking insane. But the problem is when you combine no adequate healthcare solutions for deep mental health complications that kids are experiencing, and you combine like isolationism or isolation that they feel and alienation that they feel, and also an immediate arsenal that is readily available at a moment's notice, and you create this powder keg where even a couple dudes in a fucking Telegram channel can decide to do something so impactful and so traumatic. Yeah, James Berger was 21. James Berger is the Texas guy who was LARPing as like a Islamic jihadist on Roblox. He got investigated and was arrested by the FBI. This Robin person was 22. The Nazi girl was 15. The black white supremacist, I forget, was also, I think, underage as well. So they prey on a lot of like lonely and fucked up kids for the most part, or like young adults, and try to egg them on into committing an act of suicidal terror. Okay? And yes, there is no minimum age for recruitment. They recruit as young as 8, and a lot of these communities also are like actively like pedophilic as well, which should not be shocking at all. I checked the Twitter account of this person when it was available, and there was a bunch of like everything was memes. Everything was like masquerading as memes, but they'd be like, "Oh, me and the Diddy Bloods," and then it was like a video of like a child, being sexually assaulted. So a lot of this stuff like masquerades as like edgy, nihilistic, esoteric neo-Nazi memes, but in reality, these people do fucking believe it. Yes, Eskişehir mosque stabbing was another one of these as well. It even happened in Turkey. On August 12, 2024, a mass stabbing attack took place outside of Tepebaşı Cami in Eskişehir, Turkey. The suspect behind the attack has been identified as 18-year-old Arda Küçükyetim. The attack was live streamed on Kick through a camera attached to the suspect's vest. 5 people were stabbed and injured before Küçükyetim was detained by the police. One of these people was hospitalized in serious condition, but has since then recovered. Anyway.
It was like right beside me. I was like 2 seats away from the stained glass windows.
5th grader Weston Halsney said he hid under a pew as the shooter fired through the windows from outside.
My friend Victor like saved me though, because he laid on top of me, but he got hit. He's really brave, and I hope he's good in the hospital.
Police say 2 students, an 8 and 10-year-old, were killed, and the shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in the church parking lot. It's not clear if the shooter ever entered the building.
That coward has been identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman. No prior criminal history. As to the weapons used to perpetrate this horrific attack, there was a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. All 3 had been lawfully purchased.
According to law enforcement, first responders swarmed the scene immediately, rushing the 17 surviving victims to area hospitals. And after parents arrived to reunite with their children, some visibly overcome by emotion, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey said it was time to take action.
Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance.
Yeah. It's really interesting that I think yesterday Asmongold was talking about how the shooter was a leftist and whatnot. But I believe he recently tweeted about how it's not about politics. And I wonder it's because he realized that the shooter's actual nihilistic edgelord pro-Anders Breivik tendencies were actually far closer to someone like his worldview, as also another Anders Breivik enjoyer. For those of you who don't know, Anders Breivik, of course, is a very famous, very prominent neo-Nazi terrorist who in Norway conducted one of the most, one of the worst acts of terror that Norway has ever faced. He went to an island where there was like a Marxist social democrat youth movement that was gathering, and he shot a bunch of people. He actually blew up a government building as well, which is someone that Asmongold clearly enjoyed so much that he actually nabbed Anders Breivik's WoW account username for himself and celebrated that. It's just interesting because he did this. He did this yesterday. I believe he was talking about how trans the shooter was and how leftist the shooter was, but maybe I'm wrong. So I wonder why he changed his attitude here. Anyone trying to play the blame game when a shooting happens and say which side the shooter was on is a fucking R word? Read the comments, the manifesto. They're not right or left wing. They're insane. These people transcend politics and operate in the realm of psychosis. Yeah. Interesting. And of course, because these tragedies are so commonplace that like everyone has their own version. Everyone has their own version of like, how do I make this about my worldview? Yeah. Well, pretty sure if there's like a similarity between this shooter and their worldview, I think it's closely associated with Asmongold's at least former political positions. I don't know if he still maintains this pro-Anders Breivik stance.
Like, I'll just say it the way it is. A lot of people might not like this. That's why I'm going to do it. The amount of, like, LGBT people that very openly and just brazenly advocate for and celebrate violence against people that don't acknowledge their lifestyle as being legitimate needs to be zero. The amount of people that should be doing that on social media, the goal number of that should be zero. And right now it's socially tolerated in a way that I think is completely unacceptable. Like, I'll just say it the way it is. A lot of people might not like that.
It's just odd. Or maybe because he's a pussy who's too afraid of destiny coming after him. And right now, he's still a reliable vehicle for both Destiny and Ethan Klein at different times to attack someone like myself. How's that for being Mr. Brave? Because right now, let's be real, a lot of political content creators kind of avoid talking about Asmongold because they're afraid of his audience. They're afraid of the wrath of his audience, right? I'm not, but there are large enough communities that normally wouldn't care about such things. Those communities, of course, have their crosshairs on someone like myself, or maybe in this circumstance, one another. The reality is everybody knows who those communities are and what their communities behave like, and they simply don't want the smoke. So they will refuse to cover this kind of thing and only cover it if it's someone like myself, because I take a principled position and don't actually actively demand that my community go after my enemies and dox them and fucking constantly try to get them deplatformed. That's it. That's the reason. No one's going to like it, so I'm going to say it. Is this entire business model? Yürüteceğim mi? Oh, okay. No worries. Anyway.
Now, law enforcement executed 4 search warrants yesterday, 1 at Annunciation and 3 at residences tied to the shooter. The police chief said a smoke bomb was discovered at the church and additional firearms were being recovered at those residential locations. Maurice.
Okay. Usher Qureshi, thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Thompson. I'm the acting United States Attorney for the District of Minnesota. Yesterday, Minnesota was attacked. It was an attack, first and foremost, on our children and our families, an attack at a school and in a place of worship. It was also an attack on our city, our state, and our country. The U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, ATF, and other federal law enforcement are working with state and local partners to investigate this heinous act. Our investigation is twofold. First, we are seeking to confirm what we believe to be true, which is that the shooter acted alone and that no one else was involved, that the threat died with the shooter yesterday. We believe that to be true, but we'll leave no stone unturned to ensure the safety of our community. Second, we are investigating the motive, why and how this happened. The shooter left behind hundreds of pages of writings that describe the shooter's plan, writings that describe the shooter's mental state, and more than anything, writings that describe the shooter's hate, pure, indiscriminate hate. The shooter expressed hate towards almost every group imaginable. The shooter expressed hate towards black people. The shooter expressed hate towards Mexican people. The shooter expressed hate towards Christian people. The shooter expressed hate towards Jewish people. In short, the shooter...
I guess he was Muslim then, huh? Oh, wait. The shooter was a fucking psychotic neo-Nazi who literally celebrated the Christchurch mosque shootings.
appeared to hate all of us. The shooter's heart was full of hate. There appears to be only one group that the shooter didn't hate, one group of people who the shooter admired. The group were the school shooters and mass murderers that are notorious in this country. The shooter idolized some of the most notorious school shooters and mass murderers in our country's history.
And around the world. Anders Breivik, the Christchurch massacre. Wait a minute. I thought the shooter was a trans woke lefty. What? That's so crazy. How could this have happened? I just don't understand why you don't actively say the shooter is in very clearly a fucking Nazi. Like, what's going to happen? You're worried about other Nazis being like, this is not us? What are you, defaming Nazis? Like, the shooter is very clearly a Nazi. All of the fucking signs point to that. And yes, Nazis can be anti-Christian too. It's not that strange. There are plenty prominent fucking neo-Nazis that are pagan, that are anti-Christian as well. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck is going on right now?
Won't name them, just like I won't name the shooter. They don't deserve to have their names remembered. As I said, the shooter left behind hundreds of pages of writings. There is a lot to digest, and we'll know more in the coming days and weeks as we've had an opportunity to go through them. But reading them, one thing is clear. And it's going to be hard to hear, but it's important to the question of why this happened. More than anything, the shooter wanted to kill children, defenseless children. The shooter was obsessed with the idea of killing children. The shooter saw the attack as a way to target our most vulnerable among us while they were at their most vulnerable.
Literal, yeah, a pedophile neo-Nazi. Is he saying he was Israeli? No. Yeah. One thing that has really troubled me about Christchurch is considering the scale of recruitment that it offered for O9A, Order of Nine Angles, derived ideologies. How many irony poison kids went for looking for the video in 2019 right into the open arms of a terrorgram? 5 digits, six digits. These are all some of the fucking confirmed affiliates. And they literally operate on fucking Roblox and shit. It's not a joke. Look, they are on Roblox. They're talking to your young relative. What's crazy is that they are going to turn around and unleash the most comprehensive, unlimited security apparatus, the unlimited surveillance machine, the most Israel-style surveillance machine you've ever seen in your life. I wish my wallet was as thick as your skull. So they have more people. These are the ones who are motivated by Order of Non-Angle style affiliate groups.
Trace, as you know,
oh my God, Israeli grade ontology. Okay, I hadn't seen this clip, but I'm glad someone is saying it out loud. Wow.
Correct, 100%, and she's 100% correct. I am now about to launch Gideon, America's first ever AI threat detection platform, built specifically for law enforcement. It scrapes the internet 24/7 using an Israeli-grade ontology to pull specific threat language and then routes it to local law enforcement. It's a 24/7 detective. It never sleeps, and it's going to get us in front of these attacks.
Would it have picked up on this, do you think?
100%. I wish my program would already be up. We're not launching until next week. I've got a dozen agencies on board, Trace. I just unloaded a major Northeast agency with over 2,700 sworn. This is America's early warning system.
Lieutenant Mark Evans.
Trace, as you know, correct, 100%, and she's 100% correct. I am now
We are so fucking cooked, bro. I mean, what do I say about this? What do I say about this? We're so goddamn cooked. Israeli grade ontology? What the fuck? Oh my God. Anytime anybody ever says like fuck Israel, they're going to have drone strikes happening now. Great. I've been telling you that these motherfuckers want Israel here, okay? They want Israel here for Christian supremacy, white supremacy. They want white Christian Israel, okay? This is quite literally the reason why Richard Spencer, famous prominent neo-Nazi Richard Spencer, used to say, I love Israel. I hate the Jews, but I love Israel. I want to do Israel here in America. How come they get to have an ethno-state? We should do the same. I'm glad this is where we're at now. It's awesome. Now we got fucking Palantir up our asshole. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about Palantir a little bit more extensively because Matthew Petty at Reason, the libertarian blog Reason, uncovered a trove of emails between Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak where they actually directly talk about Palantir as a use case for America But that's later in the game. Let's get back to this shooter and the obvious background that you will not get anywhere else. This is why I say I have my own biases, but I'm at least honest about said biases. But ultimately, I will never look away from the truth. I will never shy away from reporting on whatever the fuck actually took place. So one of the only reasons why I even touch breaking news stories like this is usually to disparage the existing narratives before they fucking launch. Because in the aftermath of breaking news incidents like mass school shootings and things of that nature, right-wingers immediately storm the fucking battlefield and just start slinging. They're like, they used to do this after every single domestic terror incident and say, it's a Muslim, it's Islamic terror. Now they do it with trans people. And it's completely ridiculous. It is completely ridiculous because the government is using this as an opportunity to further shit on trans people, when in fact trans people have made up, I believe, three whole mass shooting incidents in the past decade, as opposed to white men, cisgender white men, making up like 98% of mass shooting incidents. So it's fucking crazy. It's like 0.01% of mass shooting incidents that have taken place have been conducted by trans people. And yet these guys say it's trans people every single time. Now, this person could potentially have been trans. There's some evidence to suggest that they were a detransitioner, as in they were trans at some point and then or they were transitioning at some point and then decided, like, I don't want to transition. I'm actually assigned male at birth, and I'm AMAB, I'm male, I'm not a trans woman. Okay? But it doesn't matter. Because even if this person was trans, even if this person in the unimaginably unlikely scenario was not only trans, but also literally like a leftist or something, okay? Which that's not what happened. But even if that was the case, that would be the hyper rare exception. He watched you? No, he didn't. Why are you saying fucking stupid, nonsensical bullshit? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you think someone who literally fucking talks about 6 million Jews were not enough or whatever the fuck and is like in these neo-Nazi circles would ever watch me or be a fan of mine? If anything, they might have known who I am and despised me. I don't get why people say fucking stupid shit like this. Maybe they say it because maybe a hate watcher? No, they say it because they're fucking bored and they think it's a funny troll. They don't realize that there's already a bunch of people out there that are actively trying to claim that this is like another fan of mine. And what's crazy about that? Can you explain the Christchurch connection? I don't get it. Yes, the shooter venerated every single prominent neo-Nazi white supremacist terrorist around the globe. He did so by writing their names and hearts and things like that on their gear. He idolized these shooters. This is very common in the Order of Nine Angles style, hyper edgy, esoteric, nihilist, fascist, white supremacist groups that these guys participate in. The shooter also talked about Brandon Herrera and how much he liked Brandon Herrera. Brandon Herrera, for those of you who don't know, is also known as the AK guy, who is a far-right, also fairly racist. Haters tried to accuse you of making the shooter yesterday on your blast off. I don't care. You don't need to fucking actually bring this up. It's not shocking. The point is so commonplace that these mass shootings take place. It's so common that people immediately fucking run to turn this into their favorite subject. Okay, they love being like, well, this person was responsible for it. My least favorite content creator online is actually responsible for it. It's dumb as fuck. Anyway, Bonchi says, so the shooter was trans, hated Trump, and hated Israel. Going to be really hard to spin this into he had no actual ideology. The shooter also praised Anders Breivik and Brendan Tarrant, anti-Muslim mass shooters, commemorated murdered wife of white separatist Randy Weaver and Timothy McVeigh. I'm not going to say the word, cited Waco. They need to instantly impose a clear ideology on mentally ill killers. The need to impose a clear ideology on mentally ill killers is stupid. There is, however, one through line that remains in a sea of indecipherable politics here. And I've already identified it, and I'm telling you, this is how these guys operate. They throw out a bunch of different things in the process. You can be a far-right neo-Nazi and hate Donald Trump. You can be a far-right neo-Nazi and hate Israel for obvious, for fucking anti-Semitic reasons, right? Many of these guys also hate Jews, yes, and they hate Israel. This platform is filled with countless pundit and influencer types trying hard to claim the shooter was motivated by whatever ideology or group they most hate. It was anti-Zionism. It was leftism. It was a far-right racism. Many, perhaps most mass shooters are principally ill. Okay, I don't agree with that either. I mean, I agree. Why did Glenn mention Asman's WoW character? Oh, good one. Anders Nordic. See also, you can turn the shooter into whatever you want if you try hard enough. Now that the shooter has been identified as a white male who was radicalized in part by previous white nationalist racist shooters who promoted anti-Semitic conspiracies that MAGA and GOP promote, I expect him to fall out of the news cycle like Vance Belter. Remember him. The killer heaped praise on two of the most notorious anti-Muslim mass murderers, Anders Breivik and Brendan Tarrant, but the real motive was Islam and love of Muslims, says Laura Loomer. The Minnesota shooter lives in one of the most Muslim cities in America with a Muslim congresswoman and had Islamic words and anti-Israel pro-Holocaust phrases written on the guns and magazines. Part of the reason why they dump all of these different indecipherable symbols into their gear, they write all this shit, is because they will get more traction in the media. Islamic words, by the way. What's the fucking Islamic word? The police should stop investigating to find the motive of the school shooter and just log on to X, where plenty of people already know what the motive is. They'd save a lot of time and effort, though there are roughly 30 different political motives motives definitively offered. Yeah, and this guy goes, and yet they chose Pinochet's helicopter tours. I wonder what this person's worldview is. Pinochet's helicopter tours. Dog, you are closer to this fucking shooter in your worldview than anyone else. And yeah, of course, it's the school that the killer attended. Bade Roof Korean. I don't get that reference. What do you mean? It literally has the name Pinochet in it. He's not even saying helicopter tours. He's saying Pinochet's helicopter tours. Pinochet used to throw socialists and leftists, his military dictatorship used to throw socialists and leftists out of helicopters. That was their famous method of assassination. Roof Korean is a racist dog whistle that harkens back to the LA Rodney King riots that took place. Korean store owners went to their rooftops with weapons to try and defend their stores out of fears that black people were going to come in and riot and fucking steal shit. Except the only person that they ended up killing was another Korean guy in the process. It's not even like a super common thing that took place. There was a couple photos of like one of the people and yeah, these guys are just, it's a reference to both a systematized form of fascist violence with Pinochet's helicopter tours, again, anti-socialist, anti-communist violence, and then a reference to decentralized people's militia movements in the form of the rooftop Korean. Yeah, targeting black people specifically, hypothetically, even though they literally killed Korean. I think 1 or 2 Koreans was the only people that they ended up shooting and killing in the process. They shot 2, 1 died. Okay. It continues to blow my mind that you know all this. Why? I'm a fucking Ameriboo. The notion that this is something that happens. This is something that happens all the time, right? It's not a secret, I think, at this point, that the far right is far more violent than the far left ever could be. People will point to, like, you know, Black Lives Matter protests and whatnot, and like broken down storefronts or whatever, to say that's not the case. Look at the BLM riots. They're also scary or whatever the fuck. But like, there is no directional violence in the form of mass shootings and school shootings that are conducted by far left elements in this country. Okay? It's just not even close. That's not even a comparison. There's no comparison whatsoever. The overwhelming majority of domestic terror incidents that have taken place on U.S. soil post 9/11 have overwhelmingly come from far-right, anti-government radicals, okay? Many of them are white nationalists. Many of them are white supremacists. But the broadest categorization is far-right anti-government extremism. That's the FBI's designation, okay? Even if there are dudes who are Latino, this has also happened. They are still Nazis. Even if they are white women, they're still Nazis. There's a black white supremacist school shooting that took place recently. It's not even a question. Like, people think, oh, well, this person is black, so it's obviously an extreme leftist incident. And then you look at their writing and it's like literally a dude saying, like, black people are the N-word and should all die. The driving motivator is always white nationalism and white supremacy. Is not even a question. But what's actually crazy about it, in spite of that well-sourced, factually based reality that I am telling you, every single time there is another white nationalist neo-Nazi terrorism incident on U.S. soil, the fucking white nationalist neo-Nazis go online and try to say, this is not one of us. That's a trans person. This is not one of us. That's a woke. Did they have a blue hair? That's a woke. Did they shoot Donald Trump? That's a woke. These guys are so fucking violent, they even unload on their own preferred presidential candidate at times. Okay? It's not my fault. That's a you problem. You got to deal with that. Even in like incidents such as David DePipe, the person, the fucking far right psycho that went into Nancy Pelosi's home to try and kidnap Nancy Pelosi and kill Nancy Pelosi, we very quickly found out that his motives were because he was a Gamergate victim, which is so pathetic. This guy became far right because of Gamergate, okay? And as soon as his motives were known, or even before his motives were known, people, including Elon Musk, tried to say, nah, he's a gay homosexual lover of Paul Pelosi. He's not one of ours. He's a leftist. He's a woke. He wokely tried to kill Nancy Pelosi. It's like, bro, you're in the forums with these guys. You look exactly like these guys. You see the world from the same exact fucking destroyed lens as these guys. You're probably egging some of these guys on to go and commit the acts of domestic terror. And then when they finally do it, you turn around and go, not me. I can see your fucking profile name. It says like Groyper Himmler pedophile 1488. It's you. You're the next one. The fuck do you mean this guy is a woke? You were in the chat rooms with this motherfucker, and now you're acting like he's a leftist. What are you talking about? And if you have a level of fucking shame in your heart for like this kind of traumatic incident unfolding, then you should maybe reflect on your behavior online before you start immediately claiming that this person is a fucking woke or a radical leftist or some shit. And ultimately, all of this is still a distraction away from the real point of contention, the real problem here, which is impossible to solve because we fucking love the thing that people use to commit these atrocities, guns. Okay? That's it. It's the common denominator. And because we're never going to get gun control and people are tired of trying to demand gun control, okay, people just like look for alternative reasons. Some don't even look for alternative reasons nowadays. They just immediately go, oh, the shooter's trans. Doesn't matter if the shooter is actually trans or not. Every single one of them is trans automatically. I thought maybe the attention would shift away from trans people back to Muslims like it used to in the good old days post 9/11. But nope, still trans. Maybe they're trans Muslims now. You know, put it together. Combine the two. Next time, it's not just trans, it's a trans Muslim who hated Israel. Jesus fucking Christ. It's so crazy.
At school and at church.
Yeah, Robin on July 29th with posting on Skibbity Farms. I can't believe that's what it's called. Jesus fucking Christ. That they were looking for music suggestions to shoot up a church. They got suggestions and also folks egged Robin on. These people come from the darkest corners of the internet. Yes. Skibbity Farms is like Kiwi Farms. It's a lolcow website. Remember, there are too many normies in here that don't know what this is, but there's this thing on the internet called lolcowing, okay? These guys love going to forums and finding, oftentimes trans targets that are very vulnerable, that come from marginalized backgrounds, that have like mental health complications, and they dox them, and then they turn them into lolcows. Like they try to puppeteer their lives. It's a very dark process. Except, oh, that was debunked. That account is still posting today. Well, anyway, the process of lolcowing is still a very real concept, and it's very similar to the Order of Nine Angles. Which is most likely where the shooter came from. I'm Gen Z and don't know half the words you're saying. This wasn't the shooter's account. This is why I wait to put stuff out. I'll respond in full tomorrow. Also, I am not going to shoot up a church. I'm not the Minneapolis shooter. He's a T-word who is dead, and I'm a dude who is in bed with your mom. Oh, Skibbity Farms, I think, is just like another one of those fucking lolcow forums out there where a lot of these like edgy neo-Nazis frequent, okay? It's a doxing forum, okay? It's a forum that is created with the express purpose of doxing and manipulating the lives of some of the most marginalized people and also content creators as well. Like some of the more common lolcows are people like Darkside Phil and what is it, Wings of Redemption, Boogie 1488, whatever. Those guys are more popular versions of that are like even normies are aware of, even if they don't know what that is, like what lolcowing is. Chris Chan is another one. That's a very famous one. And basically the goal there is to actively try to ruin the lives of these people that they target and make their life a living hell, just unbearable. And they try to do that by doxing them, calling, pizza deliveries to their homes, and then slowly but surely doing even more and more insane shit. It's basically like serialized gang stalking for content purposes. Now, but why? What does one achieve with that? A sense of community, a sense of shared purpose, a sense of making someone else's lives as miserable as their lives are in any given moment. In most circumstances, the people that are participating in this shit have the exact same kind of mental illness as the victims. They hate themselves, and this, I think, like reasserts a sense of control over their own lives by ruining another person's life. It's just like pure sadism. And some people enjoy it from afar because these people are fascinating, I guess. And other people actually actively tap the glass, as I like to call it, And that's like even less healthy than the already unhealthy fascination that people have with these figures. And I think that it's become even more commonplace, especially with like TikTok. The version of this on TikTok is what's that kid, the World of Shirts or whatever. Like that's a real life TikTok example of that, where people are, egging these people on through live streams and egging these people on in any way, shape, or form to actively push them further and further into the depths of depravity. And with like Kiwi Farms, for example, one of their goals is to like actively get trans people to kill themselves, right? So they have like a scoreboard of trans people that they've been able to successfully cause the suicide of. Another recent version of this was what happened with Kick. If you remember, the French Kick streamers, they were participating in this process directly. Yeah, it's a horrifying thing that has become more normalized as the internet has gotten worse and worse. So literally the worst lore iceberg ever. I mean, what do you want me to do? It's just a thing that happens online. It's really fucked up. And it used to happen less frequently, but now it's unfolding in real time, in broad daylight. It's like normies are engaging in it without realizing that they're engaging in it. But the reason why I'm bringing up all of this is because there's an even darker side to this, which is what the Order of Nine Angles is, where a lot of these people who are like deeply mentally ill that find themselves in the throes of radicalization, far-right radicalization, that desperately seek out even more edgy, more radical forms of self-actualization through, neo-Nazi sentiment and the like, find themselves in these groups called terrorgram groups. They're Telegram, which is a social media platform that's operated by some Russian dude and is, as far as I know, I think, or until recently was not, didn't have any backdoors into intelligence communities in the West. They have Lamau passing blame. What do you mean? So the victims hated their life? The victims? I'm not talking about the victim. I'm talking about the perpetrator of this act of terror. I think you might be too stupid to understand the English language. Like I'm very clearly communicating what is. The victims are little kids. I'm talking about the fucking mass shooter and how this mass shooter found themselves in this in the throes of radicalization. Why is this Asmongold acolyte? Anyway, I think you misspoke and said hate their lives as much as the victims. Oh, when I was talking about lolcowing, yes, the victims in that situation do hate their lives. Yes, they do. Yeah. And they actually identify suicidal tendencies deliberately and push into it. They lean into it to try to egg them on, to drive them to the point of suicide. Yes. But this other thing that I'm talking about is different. And it's an even more depraved version of this, but structurally it works in the same way. You find like people that are just deeply mentally ill, deeply resentful, deeply angry, and they frequent these like Telegram channels, broadly known as Terrorgram. And the goal there is not dissimilar to the goal that lolcow enjoyers engage in. But in this circumstance, the goal there is to egg on one another to commit an act of terror. Okay? That's it. So these people are like, ooh, we're so edgy, we're being nihilistic. But the goal there is to get people that are in these Telegram groups to go out. They offer reverence and great respect to former white nationalists, white supremacist terrorists, and their ultimate goal is to become a revered figure such as those that came before them, and they actively egg people on. And this is yet another shooter that came out of one of these groups.
I won't dignify the shooter's words by repeating them. They are horrific and vile.
Cult.
But in short, the shooter wanted to watch children suffer. Yesterday was a tragedy for this city and our state. My heart goes out to the entire Annunciation community. Their loss is unimaginable. I want the state of Minnesota to know that when a tragedy like this occurs, we all stand together. Federal, state, and local law enforcement work together side by side. The FBI, the ATF, the BCA, Minneapolis Police Department, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, including their victim advocates who have been working with the families yesterday and today. The list goes on. This has been a tough summer for Minnesota, but I take heart knowing that we all stand together in confronting this evil. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Chief O'Hara.
New details come out about the moments inside the church.
Yes.
About the doors being locked. How that might have protected some kids. Could you talk to us about that?
So the question was about the doors being locked at the church. Annunciation Church had a practice that once Mass began, they locked the doors of the church. This incident occurred shortly after the Mass was beginning. So there's no question that the fact that the doors were locked likely saved additional lives. At the same time, we also know that the shooter intended to barricade and did barricade the doors on the same side of the church where the shooting occurred. So what's particularly heinous and cowardly about this is these children were slaughtered by a shooter who could not see them. He was standing outside of the building, firing through very narrow church windows on the level where they would line up with the pews. And even ultimately, when he got to the rear of the church, was an entryway that's basically all glass, and fired out the window where a person could walk in, ultimately did not walk in.
It's crazy. What about door control is unironically a thing that we used to make fun of, and now it's like the first question, and it's a given, and then the answer is no, there was door control. Don't worry. Well, it seems to me that even door control is ineffective. Maybe we should control another element that is at the heart of every single one of these incidents.
Before the shooting?
I did not say that. So the question was, did the shooter attend Mass in the weeks before? We know that previously the shooter had attended that parish and had attended that school when they were younger.
Is there anything, any evidence that this person was radicalized or part of some online groups or anything like that would have inspired this behavior?
Yeah. So the question was if the individual was radicalized, I guess, for a specific cause or a part of some online groups. And the answer is no, we have not found evidence of that, other than, again, just this fascination in general with many, many different previous mass shootings, mainly in this country, but also some from around the world.
So many stories are now emerging of the panicked moments inside that church and also the bravery of everyone who was inside that church as well. We're joined now by 13-year-old Javen Willis. He's an 8th grader at Annunciation. He's with us along with his mother, Melissa. Javen, let me start with you. I know you've been at Annunciation for a number of years now. You're in Mass yesterday with your buddy, and all of a sudden you hear those shots ring out. What did you do then, Javen?
Well, right when I heard the shots, I knew something was off. I didn't think that they would have, a lot of my classmates thought it was confetti and fireworks, but I didn't think they would have that during the middle of the church service. So honestly, it was just, at that point, I was like, I want to try to keep everybody as safe as possible. So I told me and my 2 buddies to get down and to get under the pew. And right when I told them that, it was like a state of shock for me, and I knew that I had to try to keep as many people around me as I could safe.
While you're down there on the floor, keeping yourself safe, keeping your buddies safe, what was going through your mind?
Well, right when it happened, knowing that with God on my side, I would be fine. So I tried to just go and help out my fellow classmates, try to keep them calm and safe and let them know that they'll be okay.
You're a young man of great faith. I understand that you were just baptized last week. Mom, I want to turn to you for a second, because as I understand it, you're on this, like a lot of moms, you're on this text thread with moms. You're at work. You start to hear about what's going on there at the church. You spring into action. You get to the gym. What did you see when you got there? What was that experience like for you?
I mean, it was terrifying. You just never think that this is going to be your reality. There was quite a large perimeter set up, so I just parked as soon as I got within a couple of blocks of the school. And by the time I got there, they were already starting to let parents into the gym to look for our kids. So I didn't have to wait, thankfully. But yeah, they were ushering us all in and down to the gym where the kids were all at to find our kids.
And you saw your boy there, and you were able to put your arms around him for the first time. What'd you say?
Yeah. I just cried. I just thanked God and cried and held him. And, you know, just thankfully I was one of the ones who did get to see my kid when I got there.
Thank you. You've got a special young man there, too, by the way. Javen, I heard as you were leaving the church, you were fist bumping the officers and thanking them on the way out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just, I didn't want to just sit there and think about it, so I just thanked the officers, because without them, who knows how much worse this could have been. It was bad in general, but it could have been way worse than that if they didn't.
Bro, we're officially getting dumber in society. Every fucking outlet is like looking to interview the kids. They're like, yeah, this kid loves cops. Like, it's just like, what is, oh my Lord, dude. What the fuck? It's just like, people just like come in and ask like feedback from 12-year-olds that just experienced a mass shooting. Like, this concept is so busted to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like the friend who's too woke, but I truly don't understand that. But I guess, fuck it, you know? Fuck it. Dystopia time. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, thank you for being brave, little one, for withstanding a mass shooting. Like, that's crazy. Like, that nowhere on the planet should a 13-year-old feel unsafe like this. Of course, this is the reason why I keep repeating over and over again that, like, a society that does this to its own children and refuses to find solutions to stop this from happening to its own children is not going to give a fuck about kids in Gaza. Okay? That's it. That's it. And it's not just like, it's white children too, which is the highest form of child in the eyes of a white supremacist society. We let little white babies get killed. So of course, nobody gives a shit about what's going on in Gaza. It's like a sacrifice that we must make because the weapons manufacturing, the small arms manufacturing industry has to, you know, keep turning profit year over year. Come on. Profit year over year. Come on. That's it.
Heard Jonah Kaplan talking there with Anders Holin, a father. He also caught up with Holin's 9-year-old daughter, June, who was inside the church when the shooting happened. And Jonah is here now with us. Jonah, good morning to you.
Maurice, it's so tough to kind of just comprehend what happened, and especially when you talk with these incredible...
RPG sauce, I don't want this sub. Can you take it away? No, you're cooked. Everybody now knows you are a diehard HasanAbi head. That's right. You have to live with that stain for the rest of your life. He's not even following, but he can write in the chat because he's subbed. Everybody point at RPG. Everybody welcome RPG Sauce, a lover of this community, a prominent fixture of this community, one of the most important parts of this community. You are branded tarnished with a scarlet letter that will forever be a stain on your reputation on this website that you've been on since 2020-05-15. Yeah. You've been branded. One of the cornerstones, yeah, a pillar. A pillar. He can't leave. He's in here. He's in here with us. He's stuck here with us forever.
Children, so many survivors, nearly 400 were inside the church. That included June in 4th grade, her younger sister who just started 1st grade, sitting in the back of the church with their classmates, with their teachers. And when they heard that gunfire, of course, everything changed in that mass. We asked them what happened at that moment that they knew something was wrong.
I heard the noise and I kind of got scared at first. It was like a big firework that was like super duper duper like close. Like if like somebody did a firework that didn't launch off like in your ear, that's kind of how loud.
What were you most scared?
I was scared about if I would get hurt. I was worried about like everybody getting like hurt and injured.
So you heard it, someone grabbed you?
My teacher just jumped on the floor.
What was it like with your buddy holding your hand like that? How did that make you feel?
A little bit safer.
Did it feel like she was kind of watching out for you?
Yeah.
Okay, and you run to the Starbucks.
Yeah. They were letting us like try and call our parents and
Okay, there's got to be more.
Well, this morning we're also learning more about the people impacted by this horrific shooting.
Okay.
Reagan. Thanks, Caroline. I have two questions for you. Sure. Democrats, including former White House Press Secretary Jen.
I'm trying to think of any benefit to this, and all I can think of is maybe this resensitizes people to school shootings, but like, why the fuck do people need to be resensitized to fucking kids dying? No, I don't think this does anything. I don't think people think about like the humanity of the victims. I think it's just like a pure fascination, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see what the newsworthiness of that is. We are the only country that thinks this is cool, by the way. I know. That's true. We're the only nation on the planet where this happens with regular frequency, and we just keep going, I don't know how to fix it. We know how to fix it. Nobody wants to fix it. It's just not happening.
And Psaki and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey attacked prayer and pushed gun control in the aftermath of yesterday's shooting. What's the White House's response to their comments?
Yes, I saw the comments of my predecessor, Ms. Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Bro, brother. Oh my God, dude. How dare you? How dare you speak out against the power of prayer? It's the only thing we got against the fucking stopping school shootings.
What's the White House's response to their comments?
Like, that's what it is, yeah.
Secretary Jen Psaki and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey attacked prayer and pushed gun control.
Attacked prayer and pushed gun control. I hate this fucking place, dude. We are so stuck. They said thoughts and prayers clearly don't work. This was a shooting at a church during the process of prayer. Okay? They're not even being like r/edgy atheists. Okay? They're simply saying a fact. They're saying that we need solutions. And thoughts and prayers is being cynically deployed as a mechanism to not find solutions. And now they've decided that this is the new culture war that culture warriors will fight on. Which is, well, how dare you come after Christian prayers? Just say you don't think mythology is real? Oh, you're so disrespectful. No, I just like, it's not even that. This isn't even about like a fucking admonishment of Christianity or prayer, dude. What the fuck? They are cynically reframing it as such in an effort to hyper focus on another perceived victimhood narrative. No, it's bait. He's agreeing with me and he's making a joke. But I'm not even saying like fuck Christianity or some shit. And neither are those people. Okay? I know that person was just like joking around. This is what Jen Psaki tweeted. Prayer is not freaking enough. Prayers does not end school shootings. Prayers do not make parents feel safe sending their kids to school. Prayer does not bring these kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers. I hate these fuckingism, okay? Like, yeah, Jen Psaki sucks or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. She's not wrong. It's literally correct. Thoughts and prayers is most commonly deployed in the aftermath of these things. And there's a reason why people immediately joke about, oh, thoughts and prayers, because they just deploy it as a way to push the conversation back, to push the actual conversation that needs to be had, which is gun control. Okay? They don't want real solutions to this, so they just go, oh, thoughts and prayers. Now they've decided to attack people saying we need real solutions, not thoughts and prayers, by cynically claiming that cynically making it seem as though these are like people demonstrating anti-Christian sentiment. It's another evasion mechanism. It's another way to deflect the attention away from a productive solution, even productive discourse. Okay? We pray because our hearts are broken. We pray because we know God listens. We pray because we know God works in mysterious ways and can inspire us to further action. Why do you feel the need to attack people praying for their kids when kids were just killed praying? Well, that's kind of the point, don't you think? That's kind of the point. Like, kids were killed while they were literally in the process of praying. We should do everything in our power to make sure that that doesn't happen. You know? Of all the weird left-wing culture wars in the last few years, this is by far the most bizarre. How dare you pray for innocent people in the midst of tragedy? What are you even talking about? He knows exactly what people are talking about. He has to posture like he's too stupid to understand. I don't think J.D. Vance gives a single fuck about Christianity or God or prayers, by the way. Okay? Suck my dick. I really hate to be all Reddit atheist, but like, if you're a religious person, what message are you supposed to take away from a mass shooting happening in a place of worship that your God willed it to happen? Either you heard God prayers and hates you, or you didn't hear, which means your prayers do nothing. I mean, yeah, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid that you'd be like, oh, well, how dare you? How dare you attack thoughts and prayers? No, dumbass. They're not attacking the concept or the function of prayer. They're saying that clearly prayer doesn't fucking work. We need actual solutions, because you dumb fucks cynically deploy thoughts and prayers as a way to push the conversation back until people forget about it. Oh.
Miss Psaki, and frankly, I think they're incredibly insensitive and disrespectful.
I can't wait for the 700 different like slop tuber oriented videos that come out of like, they hate God. They hate God. The left attacks God, gets owned in the marketplace of ideas. Oh, God. It's just deflection. The more you have a conversation around like whether the left hates God or not, the further you move away from finding a productive solution to this problem.
Respectful to the tens of millions of Americans of faith across this country who believe in the power of prayer, who believe that prayer works, and who believe that in a time of mourning like this, when beautiful young children were killed while praying in a church, it's utterly disrespectful to deride the power of prayer in this country, and it's disrespectful to the millions of Americans of faith. And I would encourage Ms. Psaki to pray for these families themselves who need it right now more than ever.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube.
We now turn to new details about who's behind a series of security scares on college campuses. This morning, as police in Minneapolis investigate the nation's most recent school shooting, college campuses across the country are grappling with active shooter hoaxes.
We were eating and me and him went to go throw out our garbage and we saw the active shooter alert, so everybody started running off.
In recent days, police flooding the University of South Carolina, the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Villanova.
We didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. An officer came in with his pistol drawn, asked us if we heard any gunshots. We said no. He said, pack everything up that you have, get out of the building.
A swatting group called Purgatory is believed to be behind those hoax calls and nearly a dozen others, resulting in lockdowns and, in some cases, panic.
Purgatory is a group of young people that are located in various countries. They come together online and they operate as an organized cell, engaging in swatting for hire or swatting for their own purposes to include gaining notoriety. They want to gain notoriety so others will hire them for more swatting.
At least 10 hoax calls to universities were apparently made using Google Voice services. The calls even featured the sound of gunshots. The Purgatory Group is said to offer its followers a menu of services, charging as little as $20 for each hoax threat.
In some cases, those engaging in swatting are young. They are teenagers. I've seen cases where they've been in high school. They will sometimes get paid to swat, often not for a lot of money, but they really do it for the notoriety. They do it for the thrill.
Now, officials are reminding people that issuing any hoax threat is a federal crime.
A couple questions on the shooting yesterday. The first one, this is the second shooting involving a trans-identifying shooter who specifically targeted Christians and Catholic kids. What kind of consequences do the gender-affirming therapists, doctors, or even the parents of these shooters face after these types of shootings?
Well, as for the parents and potential therapists in this case, again, all of that is still currently being investigated by the FBI. I know the Secretary of Health and Human Services this morning said that HHS is investigating perhaps links between some of these drugs and these prescription drugs that some of these minors may be taking and an increase in violence. And obviously we have mental health problems in this country that this administration and Secretary Kennedy will continue to speak out about and the work that we're doing to solve it.
Thank you. And just to follow up, I've seen a lot of calls for action, among these lawmakers saying that we shouldn't just be praying. One that I've seen on the right, actually, is calls for the FBI to institute a new class of domestic terrorism that involves trans ideology. Is that something that the administration...
Kennedy renews attack on antidepressants after church shooting. That's awesome. Every new school shooting is a new opportunity for people in positions of power, by the way, to tackle whatever fucking gripes that they personally have. Okay? Awesome. Seriously. RFK's like, oh, it's the antidepressants. We're going to make them illegal. JD Vance is talking about how, the left hates prayer or some shit. There are people online that are, there are Kash Patel and other people online are like, oh, this is because of trans people. We should lock up every trans person. Incredible stuff.
Would support. I would have to check with the appropriate people on that.